Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with a premium deck profile, and as you can see right here is a Giraffa deck profile. So we do have new Giraffa, we do have new support. So um, like I have been playing Giraffa for a very long time, of course, since he first come out as is BT04, so very long time ago. But the old Giraffa isn't that kind of Megacolony unit to me, because the old Giraffa is retiring units instead of doing the paralyzed stuff. So even if when we get more supports during the G era, it's making the deck a little bit better, but still can't compete with Darkface. And of course, everyone goes to Ghidorah because it's a queen, it's a waifu, um, and we have less focus on Megacoin warriors like Giraffa because it's a general. Now, this is something that I've been playtesting a while. That I think at least I can see it worked, and you'll see the content in a bit. I do like this deck, but if you ask me if this deck is a deck that can bring you to the top of a tournament, maybe not, depending on the meta, but it's a very fun deck to play. So without further ado, let's go into the content. So let's start. Starting with the Grace which is our first Vanguard and it's the old Giraffa. The reason I'm running this over like any free first Vanguard is because if I can get the Grade 1 Giraffa and around top of it, I can get myself a Grade 2 for sure, which is very important in this deck because the new Grade 3 Giraffa requires us to have multiple different types of Giraffas in the soul to gain more power. So it's important that we try to mulligan, make sure we do have the Grade 1, and from there we can find basically all the pieces that we need. So this makes the deck a lot stronger in premium compared to what we have tried in free premium. So that's why. Now Grade 3s, first of course is a Giraffa deck, so I'm running 4 of the Evil Armor General Giraffa. So he isn't a good unit for like going second because you always go into striding, and unless you are not striding, you probably won't be using his skill. But just himself is still a very strong card because he can take 2 cards from your opponent's hand, call them rested without their auto abilities, and they get paralyzed, which at least moving 2 hands and making them rested is very important here, because we do have cards that relies on total rested units, and once you mill their hands, those hands are rested, they can pull them back up. That's already forcing them to use more resources to recover, or have 2 less cards that can boost or maybe intercept for anything. So it's helping you to control the field a lot. But if you're going first, that's even better, even we don't have the crit. But before your opponents go to stride, when they still have less cards in hand, you start taking them away and you push them through, then you can start taking the advantage. As long as you take more advantage, then the G Stone will help you out to push further. Your other parts of the deck will also help you out to take away all your opponent's resources, then you can win. And next, I am running the Restanding package, which is 4 of the Seizes and 2 of the Hell Demise. Now, Hell Demise is still a better restander, I have to say, if you call from deck, because he doesn't cost you anything, and somehow he can still rest a unit in case something is still standing. And it can also stun things at the back row, so if you see like decks that can always withstand their booster and keep pumping the front row recards up to give you some more like power threats, is still a good card. But Sieges I'm running for is because just having this card in the drop creates the threat to your opponent, because they never know when this card is coming out. Even if you hit, you can choose not to bring him out, but you do have a chance to choose, right? So this card is just great. Withstand stuff, gain power, and can basically reborn. Can simply just be a strike cost first, and you reborn him afterwards. So far I'm still running more of the Caesars over Hell Demise, and since we can actually recycle Hell Demise, so I'm not too worried about only running 2. But more importantly, all these Grey Freeze except Hell Demise can get me a protect marker, which is quite important here. Extra PG or extra hand is always helpful to survive. Now, entering Grade 2s first. We do have the Grade 2 Giraffas, because the Grade 3 requires you to have multiple Giraffas in soul to gain more 5k powers and gain the crit, so you do need more types of Giraffa. So far we have 3 right here, and this card is an important draw card source, and can block intercept, can block column movement, so it's still a good card. Just that when this card is on Vanguard Circle, unlike the old Grade 2 that can be a 10k, this is only a 9k, but it's weak on defense, but still strong in offense, because you can still probably get 5k or so, or at least draw yourself a card, which is quite important here. As long as you can start drawing cards, rotate your deck a little bit more, getting more resources, then you can start taking away your opponent's resources from here. Okay, now let's look at something that is a little bit older, which is A rank Mutant Giraffa. So this is an old card, and he have 2 uses. One is the active skill that counterlasts 1. If you have a Giraffa Vanguard, which you most likely do, you can tap one of your opponent's regards to rest it and get 2k. So this card can hit 11k, which in G era is very important, because most Vanguards are 11k. Now it doesn't matter too much, most of our Vanguards are 12k, 13k. So that's plus 2k might not be that helpful, but sometimes can help you adjust a little bit part. But more important is the second skill. It's a active skill from hand. By discarding this card, if you have a grade 0 Giraffa on your Vanguard Circle, you can search your deck for a grade 1 Giraffa, up to 1, write it as standing, and then shuffle your deck. So this card main uses is to make sure you have more chances to ride your grade 1 Giraffa to grade 0 Giraffa, so that you can get your grade 2, you can use your grade 1 to pick up what you need. So basically, running these cards making me I have 7 chances to make sure I ride the grade 1, which is quite important, because you do want to stack your Giraffa soul through riding, and this card is helping you to do that. And also, this card is our 4th Giraffa, so more Giraffa in different names, pumping my Vanguard a little bit more, and easier to maintain the soul, because sometimes I do need to soul blast some Giraffas to use my other skills. So making sure I do have different types of Giraffa available, even to just put it into soul to save for future, or on my first grade rewrite turn to pump as much as I can. This is always a good option. You can see I'm not running the grade 3 one, because the grade 3 one, unfortunately, he is not that impressive, I have to say. His skill is counterblast 1 and needs to hit the Vanguard while it's 11k. If we have a grade 3 or higher Vanguard in Giraffa name, we can choose one of our opponent's regards rested, and until end of turn, if that unit is put in a drop zone from Regard Circle or Guardian Circle, you can choose one. They have to choose one of their regards and retire, and you basically paralyze that card. But that needs to hit, which is very, very hard, and it's only 11k. This is also 11k if you're willing to counterblast. So unfortunately, I don't have space for that card, but this one I do, because this card at least can help me guarantee a higher chance of getting the Great One Giraffa right. And then two of the Mega La Lorenza, so I can put cards in soul, increase the amount of Giraffa in my soul, different types, which is helping. And he can pump power with rested units on opponent's field, so he can probably hit key numbers, can block intercepts. Mainly his uses is to block intercept, gain power, and increase my soul. So basically everything that written on this card skill is important to this deck. And then I'm running two of the promo, Stamping Red. This deck doesn't actually utilize anything about the Cradle Marker, but having this card, you sometimes when your opponent's playing nothing on the field, you can simply just counterblast one, draw one, which is still good. Or if they do have something that you feel annoying, you can at least place a Cradle Marker there. And if they are not decks that can just move their regards to soul or anything, if they need to retire, you always get something back. So no hurt at all. And as long as you put a Cradle Marker on your opponent's units, this card will just get plus 6k. So just being a 15k hitter anytime is great. And you can ask your opponents to find a way to get rid of it, which you don't really care, but if they do, you get more stuff. And entering Great Ones. Now, 4 of the Great One Giraffa, as we said, we do want to ride this on our Great One ride, so we can basically get a Grade 2 for free with the Grade 0. And the Great One Giraffa allows you to ditch a card from your hand, and depending on that card's grade, you can pick up a Giraffa of the same grade. So if you ditch a Grade 3, you can search yourself a Grade 3, which is basically the most ideal situation, because when you ride your Grade 1 on top of Grade 0, you guarantee yourself a Grade 2, you ditch a Grade 3, search a Grade 3, now you have 0, 1, 2, 3. You have all the basic Giraffas in your hand, or Vanguard Circle and Soul. So you can just keep riding without any issue, and any card that you draw won't hurt you anymore, just because you do have the old ride chain ready. Gives you all the parts you need to ride correctly, because we are not in an overdressed era, so we cannot use ride deck, we cannot guarantee our rides, and here all these parts are trying to help you guarantee that. Also, the Great One Giraffa can still draw you cards depending on how many rested units regards your opponents have. Then you can Soul Blast 1 less. Normally you need to Soul Blast 2, but most of the case you will be Soul Blast 1 to 0 in order to drawing card, which similar to Grade 2 Giraffa, drawing cards means you have more chances to hit your key cards, no matter they're for striding, they're for attacking, free up your soul. You have so many toolbox right here. And another toolbox, which is a high cost morph. This is a card that a lot of Megacolony decks will use because it's a good counter charger and a good recycler for normal units, especially for Hell Demise, that you can keep returning your Hell Demise from drop to the bottom of the deck and call with your Grade 4 Ghidorah to withstand your regards due to multiple attacks and keep attacking. Again, the counter charge is very important in this deck because we do use a lot of counter blast. And then Butterfly Officer. This is a card that when I very first build a deck and I try not to use, but instead I find this card is still very important right here, because the extra 10k really helps, and I get to counter charge, I get to put a unit into soul, which is something that my deck really needs. Counter Blast and Soul Blast. Yeah. So still need it, and once he finishes uses, you can put him in with a Giraffa, or you can put it with Mega Lanza to do whatever you want, which again not hurting you at all. And unless you're facing a 13k, 6 plus 11 can still be 17k, so you can do a little bit of power adjustment right here and there, which is very nice. Now another old card is Elite Mutant Trigon. So this card is a Giraffa Searcher. His skill is a regular cycle skill. During your opponent's right phase starting, if they do have a rested unit, so because you do stand and draw first, and they get into right phase, so if they get a unit that's stunned and still rested, you can look at the top 5 of your deck, search a Giraffa card, add to your hand and shuffle your deck. Which means, as long as they have rested units and this is on the field, you can just, before they ride, you can look at top 5 and search one of these. And maybe sometimes you actually requires a grade 3 to do your stride, and now you get the pieces. Or you get a grade 2 so you can ditch a grade 2 and 1 to stride. No matter what, this card is helping you to get all the key cards you want. Again, we do want a lot of Giraffas, so in case we can't stride, so our Giraffa can still be a threatening unit to our opponents, and they still need to give you a lot of cards to guard. And ending the grade 1 with Brilliant Blister, just a little toolbox here in case I faced restanding units, Vanguard. Not a lot right now, but just in case that happens, I can use it to make sure they are not standing, and I can still survive for the turn. Now, triggers. First, over trigger, I'm using the elemental one because even though the Stoichia one is very strong, I still prefer to do high powers because I do want I'm doing multiple attacks. I want to be a lot more threatening, so I'm using this instead. So far, he's doing me good compared to the Stoichia one because we do get front, we do get crit, we do get extra draw, we may get to heal, but the power sometimes is still not enough. In premium, power in defense is still very high, especially with Megacolony. This build is a little bit slower. You can go a little bit faster, but it's still a deck that probably planning for a long game. So we do need to find a way to get out, right? So instead of using something that might not give me enough power, I'm using the elemental one. But of course, if you prefer the Stoichia one, that is totally fine, and you can feel free to try both out and see which one you like, but based on my testing, I think the elemental one is better. Okay, now next one is the stride for the crit, because we want to stride every single turn. Of course, we won't be striding that much normally because we want to win in a little bit middle game, not long game, hopefully short game. So being able to stride, increasing chances of stride is important right here, and the soul in crit so that we get more souls. We also get 10k for our Vanguard to pump power a little bit higher, and then 4 draw PGs because they are just that great. And then 4 of the Heal Guardians. Because I want to survive early games, which in Megacolony and I think a lot of decks, even like DP, what we are lack of is some early defense. Like if you're going second and your opponent is a force Vanguard and they put a force 2 with high power just stamp on you and you don't have a way to survive, they can just even give you 2 more crits and give you 4 damage and finish the game off. Sometimes that happens. But the Heal Guardians at least give you a chance to pump power so you don't get bombarded by multiple attacks. You can -2 crit to a unit, then probably even the double crit, they won't hurt you that much. So the Heal Guardian is here to help you out a lot. And this card is also a grade 3, so even after you get into grade 3 so that you cannot use the skill anymore, you can of course use your G guards, and worst of the worst, you can still ditch this card to stride, and as long as you can stride, you can get something off from it. So yeah, now this is basically the main deck, and now let's also go through our G zone, which I think is still really standard, and let's look over it right now. First, a card that we don't need to think about, 4 Gridoras. Gridoras here to do multiple attacks, can stun all of your opponent's units including Vanguard, forcing them can't use G-Guards, forcing them cannot call units out except from hand, which kills a lot of multiple attack decks because they need to call from soul, call from drop zone, call from deck. You stop all that. But of course there are clans that can still superior call units from hand that you cannot stop, but being able to stop G-Guards, slowing down their GBs is already helpful a lot, and you get to stun their Vanguard. So they need to at least ride another unit and then get another grade 3 to stride, unless they get into one of the Predator Dragon to make stride cost more free, except that you're pretty safe to keep asking them for important resources, and once they run out, they run out. So this is still a card that we do need, and so glad she's still here, not getting touched by restriction lists or anything, still our main key. And then 4 of the overwhelm, in case we need to draw cards, in case we need to get crit and 1 drive, she's here. But most of the time I'm flipping her with Ghidorah, because Ghidorah is just that great. As long as you have Ghidorah and you do have enough resources, you don't need overwhelm. But when you really need to draw a lot of cards, when you really need to give your opponents a little bit threat, then overwhelm is still a good card to strike on. And Tyrannus, just in case you do want to basically stop your opponents to call any single stuff, like when you face things like Gold Paladin, they can at least still call from hand to do their multiple attacks, which is always annoying. Even if you have Ghidorah, you can't stop that. So you can just use these, make sure they can't call a single thing out. They can still use the Giga, they can still call Guardians, but at least you stop all their offensive. As long as they can't offensive to hurt you a lot, you still have a chance to get back, right? Because what you need to stay against is probably just the Vanguard attack, which is if it's only the Vanguard attack, it's probably not that much of a threat to you. So he's a backup here, but most of the time Ghidorah can do the job. And then 1 GB8 is when you do need a power turn, it is here. But if you can finish your opponent's pull off with Ghidorah first, which is always the best case. So these two are kind of like backups, and also the overwhelm. The main strike is still on here. And then 1 Sora, just in case you do want to finish opponents off with fatal damage. And right now, as long as you finish off with your G-Guards, you and your Ghidorahs, you probably don't need to worry about too much about losing your G zones, because we don't have a lot of cards that relating to G. Like even the this is not GB related, this is not GB related, and only these. But once you get to a long game, you probably already run out of them. So Sora is here to kind of acting similar to a overtrigger, because it's a quintet 9 that is still requiring a lot of guarding power, and since we do have high cast moth to keep counter charging, so it's a lot easier to actually get to counter blast for Sora to do the fatal damage. And because Sora can give the unit basically the ultimate protection, so even if you are facing like a Kagero, you still at least have a invincible unit to attack them, and they need to give you a lot of things to guard. And again, even if you lose your G-Zone, that can still run, so you don't need to worry about losing the G-Zone anymore. So now let's conclude with G-Guards. So the Christ Fort, just in case something at the back row is very annoying, you can at least rest them first and see how many rested units you have. For 2 of your opponents have, for 2 each, you get 5k. So just make it as a tourniquet shield while blocking all your opponent's back rows to do anything annoying. And then Mortar Forcian for 3 plus 10k shield, and then 2 of the Relish Lady, basically our key G-Guard to use. Most of the time your opponents won't rest 2 units, so you can basically draw cards, soul charge, counter charge, which is again very important to get all your resources back. And you use 2 of them, you draw 2 cards, you counter charge 2, soul charge 2. That should prepare you for anything you need for the next turn. Yeah. So the G-Zone is actually quite simple. What you need to take care of is the timing to use your Ghidorahs. Do you need to use all these toolbox, and when to use the Sora. And the deck itself is actually quite easy, so you don't need to worry about that too much. Try to do 5 attacks every single turn. Do look at your field before you call your Resandria out, because if you call your Hell Demise out with the Ghidorah skill, it's 22k, but if they get it defensive, then you can't get through. So there are chances that instead of doing 4 attacks, you actually need to restand your back row so that you can boost an attack in order to get to that number. And also, since you do have a Caesars right here, so there are chances like you boost already with whatever, right? And say you have something like this, just a simulation, and then you attack, like you know your opponents already have some defensive, so what you pull will be this, and you do have a Caesars in your drop, then, and you do want to try at least get these ones to hit, or maybe this to hit, then now this can actually stand this, and after this battle ends, you can still pull this out and withstand the back row, so you can still do 5 attacks, and the power is actually high. So this is something that you do need to look at your field, look at your opponent's field, and pick the right solutions. Unfortunately, this can only be done by experience, so you do need to actually run the deck, know their skills, and work hard to get prepared for any different scenarios, and I think you will be good. Yeah. So that's it for this deck profile. Feel free to let me know any questions, and I am also going to do another Megacolony premium deck profile very soon, which I'm not telling you right now what it is, but when you see the video you will know. So this is the 2 that I've been playtesting with Megacolony. This one is more of a kind of a fan service, that if you are a OG player and you do love Giraffa, or maybe you are a new player that want to know if I am going to build a Giraffa deck, what do I need? That is basically what you do. You do need to find these, which I think is not extremely hard. These ones are commons, and these ones, if you really can't find them, you can still use other cards like Machining Mantis or any other grade 2s that you prefer. That's okay. These ones get reprinted, this one's a promo recently, this is new cards, this one is new cards, this ones get reprinted. This, if you really can't find, you can simply check in like Brief Researcher, won't hurt. And then the rest is quite easy to find in like premium collections and such, and weekly collection. And Megacolony bundles shouldn't be expensive at all, even in English, I think. So you can feel free to give this a try and see if you like it. Yeah. So if you like this video, of course, give this video a like, subscribe for and stay tuned for more deck profiles. I haven't been able to do a lot of fight videos recently. Sometimes I can, but premium focus is a little bit harder because I do need to wait my friends to be ready. Because not many of my friends do play premium, and when they do, I need to go to a place that where I can basically recording, because if I'm going to any place that is new, usually I won't just take out the camera because I don't want them to like suddenly hate me or anything, because not a lot of stores prefer people to just without asking and do it. And if you are only going it once to 2 times, probably not a good timing to ask them. Yeah, so I will try to get 5 videos for these, no matter this deck wins or not. Still at least show you how this deck runs, then you can know how it's actually get into action. But overall, it's a very fun deck. So again, do like this video, subscribe for more content, comment down below what your thoughts, and keep the conversation going, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.